This is a special report from Andy's Randomness. The death of Officer Denis Mullaney. Here now, Andy Pollock.
Good afternoon, this is a special report from Andy's Randomness. I am Andy Pollock. We have sad news to report from the NYPD. We have our first confirmed officer-involved suicide in the year 2021. And sadly, folks, this is too close to home for me. The 107 Precinct, to be specific, the commanding officer, the deputy inspector of the 107 Precinct, took his own life last night. I first found this out from the Bayside Queens Facebook group, which is served by the neighboring 111 Precinct. And one of the members personally knew Officer Mullaney. As you know, if you're not aware, Denis Mullaney took over as Deputy Inspector of the 107 back in October after his predecessor, Scott Henry, took over in a different role at the NYPD. Once again, this incident of an officer-involved suicide for the NYPD is the first incident to be reported in the year 2021. As you remember last year, it was earlier in 2020 that officer-involved suicides were happening. There was even one that I remembered in Jamaica Estates last year involving an officer who was assigned to a different precinct in Lower Manhattan. But again, this is really close to home for me. As you know, Fresh Meadows is served by the 107 Precinct, and I'm in neighborhood sector A, by the way, just to give you an idea. But this is just completely shocking, completely stunning. Everybody is completely caught off guard by this. I'm certainly caught off guard by this. Again, Officer Mullaney was just named Deputy Inspector back in October. So, as of now, there is nobody leading the 107. So, I would not want to speculate that maybe Scott Henry could come back, but we will keep developments on the story, of course. We will, of course, keep an eye on if the NYPD issues an official statement sometime later today. We know at this particular moment, Commissioner Dermot Shea has not said anything about this awful, awful death. In fact, we're just going to confirm right now on Twitter, so hang on here. I'm currently checking the Twitter feed of... Yes, so right now there is they're talking about recruitment, but I don't know if they're going to bring anything up about this. So I don't really see anything. So, again, we hear anything about an official statement, we will keep you posted. Also, we will keep you posted if we hear any formal funeral arrangements are made for Officer Mullaney. We don't even know where he lived. So, it's not safe to assume he lived somewhere here in Queens, but I would imagine if there's going to be a possible funeral, maybe in Fresh Meadows, there's a chance there could be a procession down maybe the LIE or Union Turnpike or any other major street I could think of here. But let's get into the details on what happened. The headline reads from the Queens Courier: high-ranking official takes his own life near Casino Park. So this happened in Flushing. The commander of a central Queens police precinct apparently took his own life on Monday, April 5th, near a public park inside a department-issued vehicle, according to published reports. Deputy Inspector Denis Mullaney, who was 44, headed up the 107 Precinct, which covers parts of Flushing, Fresh Meadows, Pomona, Hillcrest, and Jamaica. So it says here, Officer Mullaney was reportedly found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound inside a vehicle at the corner of Underhill Avenue and 164th Street near Casino Park in Flushing. at about 5:10 p.m. This location is within the confines of the neighboring 109 precinct. Several publications reported Mullaney had called relatives as well as the 107 precinct's executive officer earlier on Monday, making statements that he wanted to intentionally commit suicide. Sadly, EMS units rushed Mullaney to a local nearby hospital, but was pronounced dead a short time later. Oh, so it says here that Mullaney was appointed to the head of the 107 precinct back in September. And again, we know from an article in the Queen's Chronicle, he actually served at Transit District 20. A candlelight vigil will be held in Mullaney's honor tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. in front of the 107 precinct located at 71-01 Parsons Boulevard. So, at least they're going to be having a public vigil. But, again, if we hear anything about a funeral procession, we will keep you posted on that. Definitely, this is a fast-breaking story, and we'll definitely keep an eye on this awful, awful story. And I will mention Newsday even in Long Island covered this, so that's how far the story has reached across. So, a couple of the elected officials for the 107 precinct actually did respond to the shocking news. Assemblywoman Nili Rosick tweeted out that devastated to learn the tragic loss of Deputy Inspector Denis Mullaney, who was just welcomed as the commanding officer of the 107 not long ago. City Councilman James Gennaro, who represents District 24, which covers parts of Briarwood, Elchester, Fresh Meadows, Hillcrest, Jamaica, Jamaica Hills, Jamaica Estates, Kew Gardens Hills, Parkway Village, and Pomanoke, took to Facebook to ask for prayers for this officer and his family. Councilman Gennaro said on Facebook, "May this officer rest in peace, and may his family be comforted." Now, sadly, I will mention I will not be able to attend the vigil because we have family plans on Thursday, so I can't get out of it. I have to be up early on Thursday morning, so I know I can't attend, but if I would probably at least try to maybe get flowers for the last minute, because I know where I can get flowers in Flushing, but okay. Former City Councilman Rory Lanceman actually gave a statement out. So he said in a statement, "So sorry about this. I've only had known him a very short time working with him. Really just an introductory meeting briefing, but it was clear to me he loved the job and helping people. I certainly felt the community was in good hands with his leadership." Now, again, we want to absolutely confirm that this is the first NYPD officer-involved suicide in 2021. And it says here the department in 2019 saw 10 suicide. Yep. And it says here the NYPD lost 4 dozen civilian and uniformed members losing their lives to COVID-19. Now, I will mention right here on the Queen's Chronicle website, and we will take a look at this. It says here in an email conversation that Officer Mullaney told the Chronicle he was out sick during the last week of March. So that should have been a warning sign right there. That should have been a warning sign right there. So, again, we're still waiting for an official statement from the NYPD. And again, we still have not received an official statement from Commissioner Dermot Shea. So, best thing to do if we hear anything, please follow me on Twitter at Andy's Randomness. I'll be giving the latest updates, and I will be monitoring Commissioner Dermot Shea's Twitter feed today. Again, we know there's a recruitment event happening right now at One Police Plaza at this particular moment. So, Maybe I'll watch and see if there is a statement that was issued then. But if you do Google the name Denis Mullaney, and it says right here, there was an article on Newsday. And that's very odd. Let's see if I Google Newsday. Yeah, okay, here we go. There is an article on Newsday. Now, thankfully, the good news is my dad does pay for Newsday, so we'll just take a look and see if I can get anything. No, please do not block anything. Okay, so it says here more details about Officer Mullaney. Back in October, he was introduced to Community Board 8. So, there we go. That's right there. But we will get into the background of Officer Denis Mullaney from an article that I read back in October. So, let me bring up that. Originally, he was the commanding officer for Transit District 20. So, very interesting that he was originally a commanding officer for the lead transit district in Queens that serves the subway system, obviously. So, he knew this area very well, obviously. And we know that Officer Scott Henry has now moved on to the Transportation Bureau. So, again, we would probably have to assume in this situation, and we will figure out something here. I just want to read this article again. And I'm just quickly reading through it to see if it said anything. No, okay, it doesn't say anything. Because there's a commanding officer, so I would likely have to assume that likely the commanding... Let me read this one more time. I'm just double checking. I think it was in the Daily News. Yeah, I'll pull up an incognito, because I know Daily News is being a pain in the butt to me. Let me just take a look. Let me go here. This is right here. Alright, so I don't remember where it said who would be in charge at the moment, but again, we will keep an eye on any development that transpires in the story, including a statement from Officer Dermot Shea. I keep repeating that. Once again, we don't have any formal statement. We don't know if there's going to be a funeral arrangement made in the near future. I would assume that there would likely be one made in the near future. We'll have to wait and see, of course. But again, if you are interested, there will be a candlelight vigil in front of the 107 precinct at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night. Again, I would like to go, but I can't because, again, I have family commitments for Thursday and I can't get out of them. I'm not going to go into what I have to do on Thursday, but again, I'm just completely shocked, stunned, and I'm just going to say that I do offer my sincere condolences to the 107 precinct, and I do give my condolences to Officer Mullaney's family and friends. So, with that, we are going to wrap up this special report. And if there is any developments, please follow me on Twitter at Andy's Randomness, and I will keep you posted. So, thank you all for watching. This has been a special report from Andy's Randomness.